really gorgeous, beautiful things happen when we follow the creativity, the soul's voice, honesty, and a realness that maybe I would have not been able to tap into if I had not gone through everything I had gone through in my life up to this point, recent things and very, stuff that's happened a long, long time ago.
All right, guys, welcome back. You just heard Michelle Ghilotti. She is today's interview for the Sustainable Motherhood interview series that I've been doing with women who really inspire me to show up every day. And I was going to say live their best life, but sometimes, words, phrases get a bad rap and they become cliche. And sometimes our best days or our best life doesn't always feel good, right? It's not about it needs to be perfection every day and you wake up and you're like, oh, I'm so grateful, and you have all of this energy. And this is exactly why I wanted to interview Michelle. I've known her for, I want to say at least 6 years, maybe more. And we've seen each other through a lot. We've watched each other grow. We've watched, she's had some significant loss in her life, and she's going to be talking about that today during our interview. She was there when I was going through treatment, and these are the women you want to surround yourself with. These are the people you want on your side when, shit hits the fan. They're the person that, we don't live in the same town, but just a simple email, sending flowers, whatever it is, it's just showing that you care. And that change is possible, and that even though something feels really hard right now, we can get through it. The beauty about Michelle, and she'll be talking about this, is I love how she syncs creativity and business and motherhood together. Being a mother to her son is like her number one priority, but yet she honors this side of herself that wants to be creative, that wants to make a bigger impact in the world. And the beauty of this is she is designing her business on her own terms. And I see this a lot with women. Sometimes I'm working with women, and all the women I work with don't necessarily have a business, but, doing work that you love and wanting to give back, and having an energy exchange through money is something that, often, you come to when you're like, okay, I'm full. I want to, what do I do next? And what I find is some women, we get in this model. So we buy into, if you give into this online marketing thing, it's like, if you just do this, you'll make $1 million. But the truth is, are we part of that process? So what do you want in your life? How do you want to feel when you're interacting with your clients every day? How do you want to feel when you're interacting with your children? What do you want your daily schedule to look like? Maybe your marriage, a partnership, with your money and your time and your energy. So I'm recording this on Wednesday. It is going up on Wednesday. This is last call, guys. If you want to be a part of the Aligned 2018 workshop, then head on over to my website, heatherchauvin.com, and you will see at the top where it says Aligned Workshop, and register. This is your last day. Tomorrow, we are kicking off at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's live. You can also attend Friday as well. All you have to do is register once, and you have access to both live workshops. You will also get a recording. So if there's a time difference and you cannot attend live, then that's totally fine. The reason why I'm telling you this is because it's such a beautiful catalyst for today's conversation. Alignment. What do you want in your life? And if you say, I don't know, that's just your body and your fear's way of trying to keep you safe. And the conversation that I had with Michelle so perfectly fits, because creativity is messy. And when you say, but I'm not a creative person, it doesn't have to be art. It doesn't even have to be writing. It doesn't have to be music. Your creativity is just trying to figure out who you are. Your creativity could be through your clothes. Your creativity could be through cooking. We're all creative beings. This is the part of our brain that oftentimes we don't express because, we have our to-do list and we're trying to check that off. And then we become very rigid and very boom, 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 boom. So moving over to the other side of the brain where we can just allow ourselves to be and to feel good in time, this is where the magic happens. And every time I talk to Michelle, she gets so juicy about it, especially when it comes to business of like, I'm writing down these ideas, or, I was writing, and I know she was for a long time talking about writing a book. And then now she's like, nope, I'm not doing it anymore. This is what creativity is, where you feed the desire to go, okay, right now I want to write, right now I want to create, and not expecting an end goal. This is also a process that I'm learning while writing this book. I mean, if you guys been following me on the journey, I think last year I was like, okay, guys, it's coming, it's coming. It has been a mind fuck, let's just say, because this is a realm of creativity that I have not stepped into my whole entire life. I would not associate myself as a writer. I have beliefs about my ability to communicate through writing, but the beauty is when I don't censor myself and I just let it flow, or I allow myself to create in a way that feels good to me, this is where the magic unfolds. So it is a creative process to figure out who you are and what your medium is in the world, because I can't go out and go to the craft store and say, where is the writing section? Okay, now I have a pen and some paper. Now what the fuck do I do? And I can even go to a writer's workshop and I can do all of these things. But the essence is I have to come back to myself, and your body and your mind will resist. It will resist. So now I'm going to be quiet. And we're going to dive in to this beautiful conversation with a dear friend, Michelle Ghilotti. And just one last reminder, if alignment and feeling in control of your life in 2018 is something that you are craving, then head on over to my website, HeatherChauvin, CHAUVIN.com right now before you listen to this interview. Register for the program. There's a little video there talking a little bit more about it. It's the live workshop happening Thursday, December 14th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. All right, guys, let's dive in.
We've
known each other for a very long time.
That's right.
Michelle is a yogi in business and in life, and has recently been named one of the nation's top creatives in Origin magazine, and has been quoted by Forbes. She's the creator of such programs as Brand to Success, Photography to Success, and Mom to Mogul. Having worked with brands such as Nike, Starbucks in her past, she has been a couture brand creator, success coach, writer, modern, adventurous entrepreneur, mom, Huffington Post blogger, and all of these amazing things. Michelle, I am so excited to have you here for multiple reasons. We've known each other in this little online world for a while, watching each other grow through trauma and success and, oh, Lordy, rebirth over and over and over again. So I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Again, as I shared with you, as my husband was walking out the door, I was like, you'll never believe who I'm talking to today. Again, you've been such a piece of my heart. So I'm so happy to share some of that heart with your community, and just you and I, just conversing today. Like it's a big part of the happiness of my day today.
Aw, thank you. So this whole interview series, as you know, like when you are a mother, an entrepreneur, it's not all for entrepreneurs, right? But I said to you, I will refuse to call myself a business coach, because I started this whole movement with helping parents understand their children. But what happens is consciousness happens and the evolution happens. And when you want freedom in your life, you're like, dang, I can't work for anybody anymore, or I got to create it on my own terms. So the evolution has been that a lot of my community are women in business. So I wanted to talk to you about that. One, you're a huge advocate for this, but you're also this conscious yogi, talking about how we can live this consciousness in our lives, our relationships, and our business. It doesn't have to be separate, but yet it doesn't need to consume who we are. So where are you at now in this evolution in helping women in business and their brand identity and all of that stuff?
Yeah. Wow. Well, as you said, we've been over the last 4 to 5 years, truly have watched each other and read about each other, connected with one another from with the highs, the successes, as well as with the trauma, and some of the tragic things that have happened. In both of our lives. So I think really the honest truth, like when you ask, well, where are you now? Wow. It's like such a big question, because where am I now? I'm here, meaning like there has never been a time, and tomorrow, hopefully it will be even deeper than it was today. And a week from now, it'll be even deeper than that, where for me, business or helping somebody achieve quote unquote success has never, ever felt more deep than it does now, meaning where I realized that this thing that 16 years ago I started to do on my own called branding, like, what the heck does that mean? What does marketing mean? Like, what are these words that we throw around, that just do not connect with our soul? And when I think of, again, as in business, as in life, or just allowing my life, allowing these, for example, like my brother and my mom's tragic deaths over the last few years, to truly give them the sort of, in the way, the respect that they deserve, to allow them to give me the lessons that they're here to teach me. I have really been able to, in a much more, again, in a deeper way than I used to feel it or say it, where I would say, yeah, as in business, as in life, like allow this expression of yourself, this thing that we might call branding, allow this expression of yourself to, meaning allow yourself to be everything, in your business and in your life. It's all, it's all you. Now I truly see, that, our businesses, we confusingly call them our businesses, where I am right now. And like, when I think of success coaching or brand coaching, it's very much from this place of let's literally swipe the slate clean. Let's call things what they really are. Let's be as real as we can in our businesses. Let's be as honest as we can in our lives. And yes, we might confusingly call them our businesses, but what are they really? Like, what are these expressions called? For me, the closest human word that I've gotten to, that, describes what I'm really here to do. And I know you feel so similarly. These are truly movements, meaning I want to be here in this life. I want to live out the remaining years, long life that I plan to have. I want to live out these years moving people, meaning moving them because I am moved. I am moved to, as a brand strategist or as a success coach, to not just be those things. I want to talk about death. I want to talk about life. I want to, first and foremost, be moved in my life and take guidance from there, And so for me, business these days is, I barely even call it that. And my clients know this. I'm always like, let's be really clear with the words that we're using. This is really about creativity. This is about the soul's voice. This is about an honesty, truly being more honest in our lives. And guess what happens when we're honest? And when we're coming from that place of true creativity, of creating something that's never been done before, or creating what we want to be a part of, we meet the most amazing people. And guess what else happens? Are these businesses or these movements, these entities that we love so much, these beloved businesses, they grow. And our words become more powerful, and we meet the best of friends. And meaning, it's not just about the business. I'm just saying, really gorgeous, beautiful things happen when we follow the creativity, the soul's voice, honesty, and a realness that maybe I would have not been able to tap into if I had not gone through everything I had gone through in my life up to this point, recent things and very, stuff that's happened a long time ago.
So I'm like, yes, I love this, because, and I think I said it at the beginning, where you want freedom. We want freedom. We want contentment. We want ease, connection. Never did I say success, money, to lose 100 pounds, to get a tighter ass, all of these things that were being sold with branding and marketing. It's not about that. It's the feeling that we're after. And we can do this through our work. And work can be, you're really great at making soup, or you just want a deeper sense of purpose. It could be, I talked to so many women and they say, actually a few of the women we were in our little group today, like, but this work is so easy for me. And everybody is saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. You've changed my life. But I resist it. And I go, that is purpose. Like, you're so easy for you, but yet your brain is like, don't do it. Don't do it. So we'll get into this, the whole, when, life, I don't even want to call them lemons. They're beyond lemons, tragedy, shifting that and utilizing the creativity. But what you're talking about, Michelle, you said soul work or soul voice. How did you put it?
The soul's voice. Yeah. Listening to the soul's voice.
So let's just pretend, okay, a woman has cut off her flow of creativity. Let's just start there, right? If you're in the creative space, you're like, yeah, ooh, I get this stuff. I love it. Like, I'm salivating. But let's just pretend we've cut that muscle off. Like, we haven't worked it out in decades. What is the soul voice? How do we begin to even start there?
Well, I think, I know, and at least, this has been true in my life, that the way that we start to, in essence, start doing our purposeful play, or playing purposefully, or our purposeful work, is starting to, and you basically kind of already said it, it's like really starting to listen to those little whispers, the things, again, the way I called it back when I was in corporate was that I would save my inspiration for nights and weekends. So I would open up my journal and write all these like creative ideas I had for businesses, and again, it's not about business, all these creative ideas I had to express myself, because really that's what we're doing, right? In business or in anything, in motherhood, we are, everything that we do, say, and show to the world and all these different titles, we're expressing ourselves. It's about creativity. And so where to start is there. When you think of, when you think back to the things that you think first off in the morning, or as you're driving, you're like, I would so love to do that. And then all of a sudden your governor comes in and puts the kibosh on, no, the kids, or it's not time yet, or you don't have the money, or it's, that's what I started to, well, it took me about 9 years, but again, saving this creativity, saving this inspiration for nights and weekends. It's allowing that voice, meaning giving that voice, and it might be very little, I'm not saying this is an overnight thing. It definitely was not for me, where I heard it. Okay. And I would start to write it. Literally, I would start to sort of write it into existence, and drawing things, and like just hearing, again, these ideas, allowing myself to feel all those things, and to think up, these cool ideas that I had. And then honestly, the next part for me was beyond just grasping or creating sort of a little container for that creativity and saying, oh my gosh, okay, thank you. I got the idea. I may not be able to do it tomorrow, but I'm in some sort of micro movement sort of around it. And then the next bit for me was, as I look up to the sky, and I do this to this day, where I would just ask, literally, okay, I heard that little call. I heard that little creative idea. Can you show me more? I will do the work too, meaning I'll free write, I'll take a hike, I'll do my yoga, I'll sing, I'll do, the things that are going to tell that voice, hey, I'm open for more. And I also know that I'm not here doing this on my own. Again, if we are doing purposeful work in the world, if we are wanting to be of higher service and to really create meaning in our lives, it's by looking around and knowing that in no uncertain terms are we doing this. Well, we're definitely not doing it for ourselves. We're doing it for the greater good. And I just got chills as I said that. That creativity is for the greater good. But that second step would be, so that that creative voice and that soul's voice is even louder and, continues to come back again and again, is literally, and this has been a lot for me lately, throwing my hands up in the air and saying, I am listening. It can be, I know it's going to be a whisper, or sometimes it might be kind of louder, but I'm listening. You can send me anything. You can send me any sign of where I'm supposed to go with this particular idea or this particular life. And I'm going to follow that breadcrumb. So I would say those are the two first pieces: is truly acknowledge the voice. And again, that excitement, it's that belly excitement. It's the ideas that come to you in the shower or in yoga. Sometimes I have to leave yoga and the front desk person goes, "Do you want to post it?" And I'm like, "Yes, please," because something comes to me in yoga. And then the second piece is asking for more. Is asking.
I like what you said about the belly knowing and the surrender and asking for more, because 5, 6, 7 years ago, I would have been like, what is she talking about? I don't understand it. And I'm like, shit. I'm like trying not, I know I'm going to cry by the end of this conversation, but I get it now. And on those days when I'm like, I just don't want to show up today, but I know I have to, like, there's those days where you're like, I just can't, I just don't want to show up today, and it's okay. But then there's those days where you're like, you have to, Heather. It's not about me. It's moving through me, and it's something bigger than me. And when you connect to that part of yourself and that part of the bigger purpose, you're just the vessel, and it becomes so unselfish, right? Because everyone starts this move when it feels good. It's easy. I can't do work that I love. I can't, all the reasons why they can't. I'm like, guys, it's not you. It's happened to you for you to express. But this takes courage, because you really have to dig deep within yourself, and people are going to say you're crazy and weird and, oh my gosh, you're going against the current and all of that fun stuff. So I'm always intrigued by, the word sustainable motherhood, which means, the way I was living previously, having no sense of creativity, no sense of self-care, which I hate that term, but like self-love, whatever you want to call it, all those things that I was neglecting to just be a status quo, normal, what everyone else was telling me, it wasn't a sustainable way of life. So now I can kind of feel good and love these relationships. So can you talk a little bit more about that? How feeling good in your life, your business, your relationships, like this is actually part of purpose and creativity and all of that fun stuff that we resist.
Yes. Yeah, it's a huge part of purpose. I mean, my, one of the topics that I love to talk about is how you and I, as moms specifically, for example, how we have multiple purposes. And, the first two that come to mind are, I would say, a collective. It's a collective purpose. We are here to be more ourselves. We are here to realize that we actually are way more connected to every single person here on this planet than we ever than I ever knew when I was young or even in my 20s. So feeling good. I mean, feeling good is the basis of it. I mean, when I think of what business coaching is to me, it's about constantly reminding. And again, it's not that we're really in this together. You are me, I am you. This is not about like, hey, you and I have all the answers for our clients. No, but it is a recognition that that feeling good, meaning for me to be able to produce, meaning to create for my clients and to show up for my clients. Guess what I have to feel most? I have to feel creative. And this is going to go back to the feeling good. For me, I've gotten so clear, especially over the last 4 years or so, that if I am not following my creativity, which to me is, again, my soul's voice, if I am not allowing my creativity to speak and to honestly make the business decisions for me in a pretty big way. I mean, yes, there's strategy. Yes, there's all these other things, that we get to do, but that doesn't mean that strategy can't be creative. That doesn't mean that strategy comes from a place of intellect or a place that isn't connected to us. So when I follow that creativity, to your point about, why is that important or why is that sustainable? Well, if I personally, and hopefully this is sort of landing in all of you who are listening, again, all of our definitions of success and joy are different. But for me, success and joy is if I'm feeling creative, if I'm feeling alive, I am happy. I am such a better mom. I am such a better wife when I'm feeling creative. And creative to me also means spontaneous. Like I'm quite spontaneous in my business. I have a plan for about 6 months. And then the other 6 months, my assistant knows. I think sometimes it probably drives her crazy, but I speak to the moment at hand, meaning I look, what is the world saying I need to create right now? And just a month and a half ago, it was, you have to create a program that teaches women how to create virtual programs that are anything but. We need high human touch. We need, we need to be warm, and we need to, like, again, lock arms, especially right now. So creativity for me is that call, is that sustainability of, I know that I'm going to be in my joy and that I'm going to be happy and that is sustainable for me. Again, that I will be able to serve and support my clients and again, give myself the love that I need if I am coming from that place, of again, ultimate creativity and really listening to what I'm most passionate about in that moment. And it can change like minute to minute. My goodness.
I know I get frustrated with the like 5-year plan. And I'm like, 5-year plan? Gosh, let's talk about a few months down the road, because then you have the 5-year plan and then you're like executing. You're like, this doesn't bring me joy anymore. Like I've lost the connection with or 5 years from now, like I am not the person that I like 6 months from now. Like you're constantly expanding and growing, right? And shifting. So I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about that. So there's this joy, this ease, this creativity. I talk to a lot of women that, they're like, this is hard. This is really frustrating. I don't understand this relationship with my child, or all of these things have happened to me. What do we do when we have grief and loss and tragedy happen in our lives? How do purpose, creativity, and joy come into play when you're feeling like, well, I don't know how you feel or how you felt, because I understand it's an evolution and it's a personal thing. But sometimes it could just hit you just like that, and you never know where it comes from. So I want to know first about the creativity, the joy, purpose, all of that sense when you've had such tragic loss in your life.
Yeah. I mean, the very first thing that comes to mind and heart that answers to all of that is, and I don't know if I did this so consciously, I just, again, speaking of putting my hands up in the air and saying, what's next, right? Where I just allow myself to, again, grow that voice inside and have it be louder, which has been so supportive, by the way, that when I did that, and again, now I can speak about it to you consciously, like, hey, here's this idea, but I didn't know it was this great of an idea back then, where after my mom passed away, so I lost my brother in a car accident, my mom also died tragically, and after she passed, I was looking for something, like I was not feeling, I was feeling a lot of discomfort. I was feeling shock. I was feeling extremely sad. I hadn't even, and again, grief, as any of you know who have experienced grief, and a lot of us have in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be that you lost someone, physically, but the grief journey takes a long time. So of course I wasn't even over Dino yet. And then, my mom's loss came to give me lots and lots of lessons, and still is here doing that I felt the need to give. Even though I felt depleted, I felt the need to get out and do something. And maybe part of it, if I'm honest, maybe part of it back then was, let me keep myself busy. Maybe I didn't want to feel everything I was feeling. But here's what happened. That desire to do something led me to hospice. And so, and through hospice, I've been doing hospice work now, week after week after week. And so to answer your question, I think the sort of fastest way, at least for me, and again, take this idea and again, hopefully your creativity and your creative voice will sort of speak to you in the shower and yoga, like, oh my gosh, I heard Michelle say that thing. And now I found sort of my own way to give back, where I meet and go and sit with moms. Essentially, they have daughters that are, all across the country who for one reason or another can't visit them, that often. And so I found this beautiful way to heal my heart by helping somebody else heal. And so, when I think, and it felt creative, it really did, because The second that you start to open yourself again, you have this broken heart, you're confused, you're like, I'm tired, I'm sad, I don't know where to go. Well, if the first place that we, even without feeling like we know, if the first place that we can find to sort of be creative again is to help someone in the same or in a similar position than we've been in. It's amazing what starts to happen. Again, your heart might still be broken, but you are giving to another broken heart. All of a sudden, you're like feeling super filled up. I would say to my hospice director, I would say, Milena, I honestly don't know who is getting more in this situation. I don't know if like the moms I'm meeting with, and she laughed. She's like, I know, I hear that all the time. So and my husband knows this. I come home and he's like, did you do hospice today? Normally Thursdays are my hospice days. And I'm like, honey, I just had the best time. It sounds so bizarre, right? It's like here you're with, or maybe to some of you it sounds bizarre. Here you're sitting with someone, you're holding their hand, you're massaging their feet, you're bringing them a rose, you're bringing them a balloon for their birthday, you're painting with them, you're reading with them. So all these creative things, right? All these things that make them feel alive, that of course make you feel alive. But I know that for some, they might hear that and go, wow, how could it be exciting or creative or fun to sit with someone who will be passing away, in the next 6 months. And the way I look at it is, wow, it's fun because there are two lives, there are two hearts being healed, meaning, again, most of them don't know my full story. And they don't need to necessarily. If it came up, I would totally share it with them. But it's just been this really beautiful, speaking of locking arms, this beautiful opportunity to feel more of that creativity because my heart is healing. And I'm doing that because I'm, that's happening because I'm helping somebody else heal.
I love this. I'm curious what you have learned or discovered or see a theme of spending time with these women when they know. Okay. So I'm a huge, one thing that I'm very consciously aware of every single day is that we are all going to die. Like every day I'm more present with this feeling than I've ever been. And people around me, like, oh, this happened, and people around. And I'm just like, yes, our time is temporary. Like this is a temporary experience, guys. And we don't know how we're going to go. But I have a belief that it's like a video game and the next level is even better. And I'm just like, I can't wait till I get to the next level, but also utilizing this experience to create it as we desire, right? And like we're talking about right now with listening to the voice, using the creativity and all of these magical tools that create the soul and the human experience. So, and I can hear some replay of myself. Can you hear that? It's like echoing. Okay.
Okay.
So you're spending time with these people who know they've gotten the reality that their time is precious. Is there a trend that you notice with where they're at?
Yes. The first one is story. They love, when I say they, I mean us humans, love to tell our stories. And I don't think we tell them enough. We used to, right? A lot. And I think of our grandmothers, like our grandmas were so good at that. And we've lost, we've lost the art of story. And so these women who are in, particularly the patients that I go and see, they're they're in their 90s for the most part. So they've lived these long, beautiful lives, really. And they have shared that with me in some way, shape, or form. They light up when you ask them, and sometimes they just will tell you their story. But I would say one of the common themes, one of the common threads is how important it is and how much people feel important and seen and heard and again, alive, and this aliveness. We could be dying. I mean, and technically, like you said, we all are. We're not going backwards. We're going that way. But
you're going that way.
Somewhere that way.
We ain't getting younger.
And yet younger. But this is how we keep ourselves young and I see it in their faces. When I ask them to tell me a story, oh my gosh, how they light up. So I would say, like, really just celebrating everything that you've been through, because that's what these women do. Like, when they tell me about themselves, they're, even though they're telling me about hard times, and sometimes they're telling me about really happy, wonderful times, just how much we can honor what we are, what is happening, what we have chosen, what life lessons have come, to us. I would say that's the first thing. And that's come through story. And then another sort of golden thread would be, as you were talking, the second thing that came was not even a word. I'm very much visual. So, like, sometimes I'll see words, or I'll see, a picture, like when somebody asks me a question. And that the second thing that came after I saw the word story up in my mind, the second one was just us sitting. Like, Heather, we just sit. And it feels so good, meaning, to have that I guess, inner peace, or that comfort, that what do you call it? That confidence, or even that comfort in knowing that not every space has to have something in it. And it's funny, because with them, I myself feel more comfortable with all those quiet spaces. And again, I'm a yogi, so I feel fine. Like, I'm not really very uncomfortable in quiet spaces for the most part, unless I don't know you. Then I'm like, oh, should I keep talking? Do I need to fill the space? So I would say the second common thread is just how, what a lesson it has been for me in honoring this, just the beingness, just the peace, just the quiet, and how that's enough, and how sometimes just, or essentially just how much maybe we don't have that. And that's, been definitely apparent in my life. For as much as I'm a yogi and everything, wow, am I actually like living my life right now? Or am I just, yes, we're moving, and we're trying to create purposeful movements in the world, and things that are really filled with meaning, but how much are we actually just being? So those are the two things that really come to mind.
I love when you're talking about being, and just physically being with somebody and sitting, realizing, a lot of women are this underlying theme of, I'm not enough. I never will be. I can't. And I always go back to, like, the parent-child relationship, and realizing that it's not your words, it's your energy and how you just show up. And if you just be with anybody, your children, your partner, and just be, like, put tape over your mouth and just be physically present. You're not on your phone, you're not doing it. It's not like, oh, I got to check this box. It's just about being with somebody. And I will never forget, like, there's so many gifts when I was stuck in the hospital doing treatment, and my body was like complete surrender. I had no energy, and I felt like a 180-year-old woman, and I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. The shit I would do with people when they would just come and visit and just physically be. Like, I think I figured I knit like so many, well, it wouldn't be a full scarf because I was very impatient, but like little dish rags or something. Like, oh, I got to move my hands or something. But the essence of just being, right? But if somebody comes to visit today, there's a different energy, because I'm like, okay, I got to do this. And I'm like, why the fuck can't we just be with each other? Like, that's all we want.
Exactly. And the third thing, sorry, it would be a total disservice not for me to mention this. I totally forgot. The other common thread, and I know this is probably such a welcome reminder for all of us, is that with each of my patients, whether you look around their room, or again, you talk to them, you hear their stories, probably in those ways, you realize how important family, like literally at the end of the day, at the end of this long day known as our lives, what have been the most important things? And then they're not things. I guess that's the answer. They are not things. They are people. And to see, again, all these photos, Heather, all the cards that these gorgeous women have in their rooms, from their granddaughters, from their, grandnieces, from all these people, from their children, et cetera. And that really the stories that they tell, maybe 70% of them, maybe I'm even being like, not saying the whole thing, maybe it's even more, they want to talk about their families, and how I posted this a couple times on Facebook, and I did a live stream on it, how, Mother Teresa, when somebody asked her, hey, how does one lone person help create peace in the world? And she said, go home and love your family. And that is a movement in and of itself. Again, like, let's stop complicating, and I get it. We want to grow businesses. Totally. I get it. We want to be on purpose in that way. And we want to, create certain lifestyles for ourselves and, do that. And of course, help people. But to your point earlier, I think sometimes we complicate this idea of purpose. We complicate, and we think that it, has to come through our businesses. And I'm not saying that it's not. Absolutely. I feel very on purpose in my business. And every day I feel, whether I'm doing it right or wrong, whether I am patient or not patient, I have never been more on purpose. My life has never felt more meaningful than giving to my immediate family. And I don't mean just my child and my husband. I mean to my father who lost his mom, to my brother who lost his brother, to the nieces and nephews who lost their uncle, who lost their Gigi, really focusing on them. And after my mom passed away, I did a little Postit note. I've always, been about family, but never like now. And I, on a little Postit, this may sound silly, but it really supported me a lot. On a little Postit note, I just wrote the names of 6 or 7 people. Listen, and it's not like I was going to forget them. They're some of my closest people, but 6 or 7 people that I wanted to make sure that I reached out to more consistently, that if I was doing prayer or if I was in meditation, that I wanted to bring them into those moments, that I wanted to print photos. I wanted to be, again, have more of a higher human touch, print photos, mail it to them, call them every week, even if it's for 5 minutes, just really slow down, Michelle, slow down. And, I didn't have any regrets. I'm proud to say I didn't have regrets with Dino or with my mom. Recently, a couple came into view, which is for another day. But I really just had this awareness, not just through hospice, but through my own losses, that, as much as you and I think that we are really putting our attention to the things that are most important, there is another level. And honestly, that Postit note was my other level. It sounds silly, but it was a silly something. When I first did it, I was like, Michelle, you're not going to forget your brother. You're not going to forget your dad. You're not going to forget your sister-in-law, on and on and on. The little list went with another 4 names. And yet, you guys, we do. I had to look at that list and go, oh gosh, he's been in my heart or in the back of my mind, but I haven't reached out in a little while. So yeah, the meaning in life, it comes through people.
I love this conversation because, again, you're like, it's not business. It's not business. It's the way you show up in the world. And that's what I love about this conversation about sustainable motherhood, because when you become a mother, your whole world is cracked open to, I don't want to say possibility if that's the way you see it, right? It's like a whole another level, another Postit note, right?
Yeah.
But I like what you're talking about with, we think of these people, but it's the acting on that creates the connection. So I think this is a really great opportunity to say, what are you doing in your business? What are you working on? Because I know it is in connection with how you're showing up in the world. And to be honest, when where I'm at in my business and evolution is I want to work and partner with people who have the humanity in their business, because it's not about, let's do a graph chart on how many yeses did you get and where are you being seen and how many clicks are on your Facebook page and all of these fun things, because at the essence of it, it's human to human. It doesn't matter how much money you have in your pocket. When you are on your deathbed, are you going to be okay with the person that you have become? So what are you creating out in the world for these women? And how can they contact you?
Yeah. So 3 things come to heart. The first thing is helping women actually get clear on what their purpose is. And I say that with a kind of chuckle because your purpose, you feel it every day. So it's not so much, again, Heather and I, or any of us who are in the business world, we don't have all the answers, but it is this, it's so important for me these days these years to help women feel on purpose, and what that means to them. It could be a passion project, it could be philanthropy, it could be creating this thing we call a business, it could be tuning back into their family and creating something, creating sort of a passion project from there. So it would be purpose work. I mean, I literally do like purpose sessions and things like that. And then from a place of human touch, it's so funny how you say, that you just shared that, because as I shared with you, I plan like 6 months out of the year. And then the really sort of the ebb and flow of life and the creativity that comes, and the, sort of speaking to what the world is giving me, that is what I create from. That is how I create my programs. It is not this like, ooh, and every single year I'm going to have the same, every program, unless they really work and it still fits where the world is and what the world needs. Great. So I literally, like I said, a month and a half ago, I was like, okay, no more. Like there's so much about online business and online this and virtual this and online this. And I was like, every other, and I'm being generous, most women that I would speak to would say like, Michelle, I'm just so disillusioned, like with
yes.
the online world. And I was like, I hear you. And I would say to them, I didn't get into business to create an online business. I created a business to, be with people. And so, so I created a program called High Touch, and it helps women create these portable businesses that we want, so that we can go out and do stuff with our kids, these portable businesses. And how do we create that? Well, we create programs. Yes, technically they're virtual programs, but this whole program, excuse me, is about teaching women and really reminding us, because we have it all in us already. It's just sometimes we need an observer to go, hey, by the way, it's totally okay to do things your way. And let's have these virtual programs feel like anything but. Let's put the human touch back in it. Let's put more of our warmth in it. Let's put more of our realness. Let's put more of our stories into each of these modules. So that's, the second thing that I am really on purpose about and excited about. And then the third, same thing, feels really against a creation from the heart. And that is, for example, a mastermind group that I have called the CEO Changemaker. Yes, we work on business, but we do not work on business unless it is alongside asking ourselves how we can be of service in the world. So the CEO Changemaker is about, on one track you have, okay, let's figure out the business strategy or the brand. Branding is kind of my sweet spot. And what is our plan to also express that creativity out into the world? How can we, from a place of true service and of, no, I'm not too busy, like not using any of those, like I could say that I'm too busy, and it's not about too busy. It's about finding a life that feels full and that feels on purpose, and that you can absolutely find a space to go and do hospice work or to go help the refugee crisis but again, it's that mastermind group, for example, is all about getting our hands dirty. All of us have, and what I mean by that is, all of us have given money to causes, and I think that's wonderful. And I continue to do that. And I, love when people continue to do that and we have conversations around it. And the world, I believe, is truly asking us in no uncertain terms to get out, like to get out from behind our computers, to get out, in our communities, to go across the world, to be uncomfortable. I remember when I went to Greece last year for, to help at this refugee camp. Was it comfortable for me? Meaning, was Nolan all set up with babysitters and this and that? Kind of, but it still was kind of like, is this going to be okay? Like, is Josh going to be okay with, handling him for these 8 days? Like, as a mom, it was a lot. And yet it is this purposeful discomfort that I feel that we need to continue to find in our lives. That's what makes us feel purposeful. So I know you asked about what I have going on, that, I could talk to you for another probably 30, 40 minutes about. It's about purposeful pain, or it's about purposeful discomfort. How can you give in the world, and, get yourself sort of, out of your comfort zone and know that discomfort is purposeful.
Well, and I think this is why I always feel connected to you, because it's beyond this. It's something bigger, and you can't even put a language to it, because it's the feeling, it's the connection, right? And yeah, go out into the world, close your laptop and go, what am I attracted to? And I love how you're talking about, these are just reminders, guys. It's not about finding your purpose. And there's definitely not 12 easy steps to finding your purpose. It's about pen to paper. Like, what is alive within you? It doesn't mean that, you have to do the exact same thing that Michelle does. You could want to, like join the circus and dye your hair purple. And if that's what is going to allow you to feel most alive, and you're like, I've always wanted to do this, I've tried to push it away, but it just keeps coming back. These are the essence. So, oh, I love this. It's just a different way of being in the world. And unfortunately, the online world has taught us and given us hope, because then we can listen to podcasts and we can Google things and go, I'm not alone. And this is how we find our tribe, right? I wouldn't be who I am today without other people who have dedicated their lives to living their purpose. And by doing that, I've been able to utilize technology to find them and to go, okay, I'm not a crazy person for wanting to do XYZ. And it's just about becoming alive within you. So I love what you're up to. Can people just find everything at michelleghilotti.com?
Yes, michelleghilotti.com, and Ghilotti is spelled GHILOTTI.com.
Perfect. So I'm really excited because I love what you're up to. And I even got a little idea, and I'm like, I got to ask Michelle about this because we might collaborate. But you just don't know what it is yet. And thank you so much, Michelle. I love how you just bring it all to the table and say, hey, I'm not perfect. Life happens. And when it does, we can still work through the pain, through the grief, to find the joy, to find the ease. And by doing all of that, this comes together and it serves a bigger purpose that you're doing this for, not just yourself, but others in their memory, but also looking up and saying, okay, show me the way. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Michelle.
Wow. You're so welcome. It's my pleasure. Thanks, everyone.
There it is, the beautiful, lovely, amazing Michelle Ghilotti. Go check her out, michelleghilotti.com. All right, and one last reminder, last call, today is the day. So if you are craving alignment in your life, your career, your family, your time, your energy, your health, very easy introductory workshop, head on over to heatherchauvin.com and register for the Aligned 2018 workshop. We're going to be talking about and doing the work. Yes, we're going to be doing the work, and you will go over it again and again and again. What do I want? What is this going to look like? And how can I make it happen? Thanks, guys. Talk soon.